Hey, in this video, we are going to walk through exactly what goes into making a good law firm website, the best designs to use, the best things that you want to keep in mind when you're designing your site. There's a few things that aren't obvious. So like when you go and look at other people's pages, you may be thinking, oh, I want this and kind of the stuff that you see on page, but there's some stuff in the background, which I'm going to share with you here in a minute, that you'll also want, especially in 2026 and beyond, when AI is much more involved in search. And so we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on some of the cool stuff you want to do here that makes it really easy for customers to come and do business with you. And we're also going to make it really easy on them to just find simple stuff like your address and phone numbers, so that they have that, because those are some of the most common things that customers use their website for, right? It's always like, oh, what was the address again? Because they're coming to the office, or they're looking for a phone number, or they're looking to find out where they're supposed to send information or refer their friends or that kind of thing. So those are some of the things we'll touch on. Now, what I'm looking at is a website that I did for a attorney customer here in Denver. And this was one where he had some custom sort of requirements, but the reason he came to me was because he had been working with Thomson for a long time. They had done his business website, and he was paying over $700 a month to Thomson for what he didn't feel like was really anything. And so you might be in a similar situation, or have at least considered getting into that situation. And, I think when he started out, it was probably more valuable than it was as time went on, because obviously Thomson, Avo, and some of those, like, they provide a service which is kind of putting your site in their directory. Doesn't always help you rank well, though, as far as like search engines and search terms in your local area for finding clients, but it does help get some clients like coming in the door who come through their sort of directory structure. So, there's something to be said for that, but it just doesn't last, right? Like, after you've sort of got a business going like he did, and is working mostly from referrals and stuff like that, does he really need to continue paying $700 a month for that? He didn't feel like it was worth it. And so he switched to us. We basically are at $297 a month. And, I think he's much happier with that price point and what we're able to deliver. So, which is actually much more of a local presence in search engines and stuff like that. Now, the first things that I want to point out is on your website, when you do your law firm website design, like probably the most important thing you can do is in the header or up here in what they call like the hero section, just have your phone number, a contact button, and your phone number, and make your phone number clickable so that when people are on their phones, they just touch the number and it just kind of brings it up in their phone app, right? So they don't have to sort of like flip back and forth between your page and their phone app trying to like figure out how to call you. Because most customers, I would say for my law firm clients, about 55% of their visitors are coming from mobile phones. So it's not as big of a percentage as maybe you've been led to believe, but certainly it is just over half. And so you kind of want to be prepared for those folks. The other thing that you want is this contact button, because you just want to make it really easy for people to send in their info, right? Their name and their message, and sort of start talking with you. Now, another thing with this phone number, this guy's not doing it, but it's one of the things that we recommend people do, is we usually put a phone number here which is like text enabled. So it's basically like a marketing phone number, which can forward straight to his direct line. But when he's not available, what will happen is he will send a text to anyone who calls if he wasn't able to pick up. And that way he can kind of engage with them, because it's a big deal to really get back to prospects and leads quickly. The longer you wait on that, the less chance there is of actually closing those folks into a customer for your firm So we do that text back thing automatically. So instead of like they can leave a message or whatever, but instead of waiting for you to call them back, you just send out a generic text, which is, hey, I'm sorry I missed you. I can't get to the phone right now. Could you tell me a little bit about what your situation is or why you're calling? Right? So it just opens the conversation. If it's a bad lead, then you don't have to do anything with it. But if they respond on text and say, hey, yeah, I'm actually looking for a business attorney here in the Denver area, I want to start a company, and can you help with that? Boom. See, you've opened the conversation with them and they're not left hanging without any communication. So that's a big deal. And the other thing that is big is getting reviews. So reviews are a big deal though, because in search engines, the local search in particular is very much driven by positive reviews in Google. So getting those reviews is nice. And what we have is a complete system that sort of automates a lot of that for you, so that you don't have to constantly reach out to people asking for reviews. And the thing that we do that's special is we basically send them to a quick page, which I'll get into that in a different video. But we basically do something which helps filter out the bad reviews, the 1, 2, 3 stars, so that feedback just goes directly to you. And then the 4 and 5 stars go directly over to Google. So you kind of work the system a little bit so that you keep your positive reviews on the public domain, and you get the more negative reviews, you get a chance to sort of work with those conversations. So getting back to the design, the main thing here is having your address, make it clickable, so that again, the people that are on your phone who are like, oh, we're driving to a meeting, and they forget your address or whatever, they can just click that and it opens in their Maps app. So we do that. We put a nice map here just so that people can visually see some of the crossroads and stuff like that, put their hours and those kind of things. Now, the other thing that's huge is to think about the practice areas for your firm, list those out, and then start thinking about, so what we did for this guy is kind of what I would say is our top level, right? He doesn't care about SEO and stuff like that. So he was making that clear to me as we went through this process. But a lot of times what we would do is we would say, okay, let's list out the practice areas that you focus on in your firm. And then let's start talking about those in relation to specific geographies around your town, so that we can basically rank that stuff in those micro searches in Google and be driving traffic to your website because of that. So it'd be like business transactions. And instead of being like Denver, it'd be like business transaction attorney in Cherry Creek, Littleton, Arvada, Aurora. So really kind of building out a lot of it's almost like similar pages, but they just talk about being in those specific areas. And so you wouldn't have to show all of those on your menus and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff can just kind of hide in the background. They're just visible pages to Google. They show up in Google search. When somebody goes to one of those pages, they still see the same header. They still get to the same homepage, all of that stuff. It just helps drive traffic. So I think that's a big one to consider, especially if you're a newer law firm or you're looking to get more leads in the door without having to go out and pay for ads and stuff like that. We definitely recommend, encourage a holistic approach for getting clients, not just building out these pages, but certainly that's one of the things that will help, is to build those out. Now, the other thing that sometimes comes up that people are concerned about is using a template, like a website template of some kind. I will say in our firm, the reason we're able to make our price $297 a month and still deliver on SEO and stuff like that and keep our price low is because we do use templates. We have models that are proven to work, and so it's why reinvent the wheel each time? So I think templates are great. You customize it still with your own images and your own content, right? Your own voice. and the practice areas and stuff like that you work in. And custom designs don't really do a lot for you. I mean, if you're a design firm, if you're a graphic designer, that kind of thing, maybe it makes sense to spend a lot of money up front, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 on a website that's custom, that's really unique to your business and stuff. I'm not trying to knock those, but it's just, there's not a lot of benefit there to most local businesses because it's a lot of money, and most people who visit your site, they don't care about your design and stuff like that. They just want to reach you because they've heard about your business or whatever. They just want to find you and search. They want to find your address. Like, it's always this really like dumb practical stuff, right? And so let's just make it easy for them. And so that would be, another recommendation here. Now, one of the things I mentioned at the beginning of this video is that there's some secret stuff that happens kind of behind the scenes that is not always visible here on the site, but is visible in the code behind the site, okay? So, like, if we look for a law firm, or let's go business attorney, Cherry Creek, okay? Now, what you're gonna see here is there's some paid results up here, okay? There's some more paid results. Now you're gonna see an AI overview here, okay? Now this is something that's put together based on some of this behind the scenes stuff that is in the website. And what we're doing back behind the scenes is just kind of feeding search engines and AI some what's called structured data about your company and about the kind of work that you do and the area, the geography that you're in, and basically kind of spoon feeding a lot of the information that we kind of read on here in a structured data format that's just designed for search engines and for AI to consume. Now, we can also block AI from coming to your site. So if that's a concern for you, then that's no problem. I totally understand that. But because Google and ChatGPT, for example, and Microsoft all are putting out browsers that are very much AI enabled, I do recommend considering having your site visible in a way that those sort of AI enabled searches can find it, because it just means more traffic. All right, so I'll stop there. I hope that helps you out. Please let me know if you have any questions for me down in the comments, and I will get back to you on those. And hey, if you liked this video, would you please give it a thumbs up? And if you're not a subscriber, I'd love to have you as a subscriber as well. All right, thanks so much for joining me.